Wealth Wednesdays here, and we have got an expert, #1 best-selling author on Amazon, young, fun, and financially free. Welcome, Leanna Haakons, to the show. Thank you for being here, by the way.
Yes, thank you for having
me.
And
the dress, the color is just amazing. Yeah, great color.
Spot on brand. What I love about you is that you've really mastered making finances approachable for millennials, right? Millennials and money. How do they go together?
Yeah, we all want to know.
Well, some people are struggling. I think we all know that. And, I think we talked about this earlier a little bit, and obviously it's a huge theme here today, entrepreneurialism and just being in that right money mindset. And how do we all get to that place? How do we get to the place where we can all be entrepreneurs in control of our money and have that life that we all want, no matter what age you are, if you're a millennial or Gen X, Gen Y. If you're, retired, no matter what you are, we can all have control of our money. And, it starts with the mindset. And I talk about it in the book. I think a lot of people come from two different places, and some people just need to give their head a shake, and others, I think, really need to break out of a cycle that maybe they grew up in a socioeconomic place in their life or in their family and their social circle that just, nobody believed in them and nobody thought that they could do anything better with their money and their career and, maybe their entrepreneurial dreams. And so they just never went after it. And so it really does start with believing in yourself and breaking out of whatever money rut you might be in and spending consciously, believing in yourself and knowing that, if you are living in the Western world and you have access to a book like this, which if you are in the Western world, you do have access to a book like this or many other, wonderful financial resources to learn the basics of money, then you can make something of yourself and you can go after your dreams.
Well, let's talk about how you became an expert in this.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I started off just as many other young people today would, learning about the basics of money. So I actually, when I was in high school, I started learning about trading individual stocks just by watching CNBC every day after school.
But wait.
And that's pretty high level.
People don't do that. So, a lot of times what we find is there's a decision that's been made by people. The common denominator of getting into people's stories is there was a decision, there was a moment. What was that for you that you went, decided I'm going to be wealthy. I'm going to understand, because high school students don't look at those kind of things.
Well, for me in particular, I think I just decided that I wanted a particular lifestyle. So I didn't grow up in a family where my father and my mother and no one was working in the financial world. They were all very entrepreneurial. So I was inspired by their entrepreneurial lifestyles. I grew up in an upper middle class environment, so I wanted to live like the wealthy. And I knew that to do that, I also wanted to have a flexible schedule and lifestyle. So I wanted to be an entrepreneur from a young age. And I decided to do that after my last full-time financial role when I was 25, 26 years old. And I started my company, Blackhawk Financial. And then about 4 years later, I decided to write the book and all the proceeds go to charity. It's called the We Foundation. And they support income for people in developing countries. So those that don't have access to a book like this and have the opportunity to learn about finances. So I decided that I wanted to have that wealthy lifestyle with a flexible schedule to do as I please with my time and my travel schedule and have all those opportunities. And to do that, I knew I needed to have an entrepreneurial lifestyle. So I took it upon myself to watch CNBC every day, pick up some books like The Intelligent Investor, learn about people like Warren Buffett, see how they invested in big American companies in the American economy and what makes these companies and these types of investors so successful and what are those basics of these investors that makes them so successful. And I just started to study these people and learn about them. And I spent, over 12 years now doing it. And so I decided to put some of those basics into a really easy read that young people can understand and laugh about. There's tons of jokes. It's very conversational. And
so what is different about those folks? What's different about the folks that are super successful, very wealthy?
So a lot of these people have dedication and a schedule. They wake up every morning with a purpose and they always keep in mind of what those goals are. So they know why they're investing. They know why they're investing in themselves. So not just with their money and their savings. So a really good goal for young people or anyone really is to have, a minimum of 10% every month, whatever your paycheck is, whether it's minimum wage or you're making $1 million a year, save 10% a month and put it away into some sort of long-term savings plan. And, know why you're saving that money. Think of, I would rather work 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week. Or I want to go to Asia and travel for 3 weeks a year. Or, know why you're doing these things. Don't just say, oh, I'm doing it because my parents told me I should save 10%. Or, that girl on TV, she said I should save 10% a month, so I'm doing it. But know why, right? I mean, think about your lifestyle priorities. Like, you don't want to work so much.
We talked about that yesterday with Jessie Johnson, and she's a financial advisor to a lot of coaches, and she said create a visionary budget for yourself. And that's really important because you can create a visionary savings plan for yourself. It's important to know, because if there's just money sitting in my bank, I'm going to want to spend it. Let's be honest.
And and that's fine. So I mean, a big part of that is having your spending priorities and your wants and your needs list. So I talk about in the book, is a big thing that people should do to start off is create your top three, your lists of your top 3 wants and your top 3 needs. And this is your lifestyle priorities. So again, whether that's traveling or working less or hanging out with your friends more, going out to movies more, dinners more, whatever you want to do, if socializing is a big thing for you, that's a big chunk out of people's budgets. Like drinks, dinners. I mean, like, let's
oysters,
be honest,
wine.
Yeah, like oysters are not cheap unless you find like a $1
oyster night
somewhere. Like, happy hours are great too. I support happy hour everywhere. But yeah, you gotta put that in the budget, right? So make your top 3 lists of wants and needs. The needs have to be met. The wants, in my world, your top 3 wants have to be met. So you got to figure it out, and you got to put that money aside, and you have to be conscious of it. So conscious spending is a big thing.
You have figured it out, and you've put it all in this book. So easy to read. I'm so grateful for you being here and for sharing your light with us. Tell us where everybody can find you and this book.
So the book is available on Amazon, of course, and it's also on the website at youngfunfree.com. And again, all the proceeds go to the We Foundation. So you may have heard of We Day. They just had one in LA last week.
Tell us more about the We Foundation.
So all the proceeds, again, go to support their opportunities pillar, which they build these We villages in developing countries. Mostly they're in Africa. And after they build the villages, they need to have sustainable income for people and sustainable economies. So all the proceeds of the book go to support the opportunities pillar of the We Foundation.
Why is the We Foundation so close to your heart?
Well, they are actually, the 2 brothers that started it are Canadian, and I am Canadian. But they have offices in LA, New York, and Toronto and London. So they're all over the world. And I just think that, again, anyone that has access to this book, it's sold in Western civilized countries all over the world.
One click on Amazon.
Yes. And I think anyone, you'll see a lot of the most billionaires and hundreds of millionaires in the world a lot of them came from absolutely nothing, or they came from big, long-time, wealthy families. There's actually not a lot of people that came from that sort of middle ground. So there's a lot of people that, came from places that really struggled, and then they just killed it. And it went extremely, extremely wealthy. There's not people that came from a lot of middle ground. And I think that anyone that, again, has access to this book and can either break that cycle from a socioeconomic place where they maybe, people didn't believe in them, and they can get to somewhere that's so much better, that's incredible. Again, people that need to just sort of give their head a shake and look at their priorities differently, again, that's wonderful as well. But there's a lot of people in the world that, we forget about or we don't think about actively all the time that don't have those opportunities. And that's why I wanted to write the book, because I've gained this knowledge throughout my career. Yeah. And I wanted to give the proceeds back to people that don't have those opportunities.
Leave the good life now and build a kick-ass future.
Yeah.
And from,
it should be fun.
From a spiritual perspective, all of life is communication. And so the more we communicate, the more we look at something. So I always say for people that if they're having a hard time with money, it's not so much that they have to learn exact skill set. If the more they're in conversation, the more books they read, the more they just engage in the conscious conversation around, the more it's not going to become scary, and they can have more power over it. And so, I just highly recommend picking up, whether it be this book or whatever mentor support system, to just engage in the conversation. So important.
Mentors are huge. The banks, all the financial services firms are getting really good at it too. I was just in Santa Monica yesterday. Capital One has a Capital One Cafe. You can just walk in there. There's all these workshops, and I mean, I'm in no way affiliated with them or anything, but they have this Capital One Cafe, and they have all these, financial literacy workshops and stuff going on every afternoon. And, the banks and these companies, and Blackhawk Financial, that's what I do for a living. We do marketing services for these kind of companies and help them educate people while they're also selling services and products as well. But, they're really getting a lot better at educating the consumers to also eventually increase their revenues. But I mean, the world is really changing in that way, and it's wonderful to see, because that's what they should be doing. Right. They shouldn't just be selling product, but they're getting great with, helping young consumers learn as well.
So where can people find you?
Youngfunfree.com, blackhawkfinancial.ca, and at Leanna_Hawk on
Great.
Instagram.
Awesome.
Love it.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much. We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land. Stay tuned.